Hi guys, so yes, this is going to be probably quite a difficult video, especially because I've got this going to be my miscarriage story. It's been 2 weeks now, so I'm not in a very I can speak about it now without crying. I'm actually so familiar with my phone now. So it's been about 2 weeks since it actually happened, and since I stopped bleeding and everything. So I just wanted to tell you like the symptoms of the miscarriage, how I felt during it, how long it lasted, what it was like, that kind of stuff, because I'd obviously read about miscarriages but I'd never actually obviously had one, so I didn't know what to expect, and especially because I was quite early on. I'd only ever really I had my misconceptions about it. So yes, I was pretty early on. I was probably only around 5 weeks when I had the or 5.5, something like that, weeks when I had the miscarriage. So yes, we found out really early on. We found out when I was like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So yes, we'd only really known a very short time, so I hadn't got that complete bond. But with Laura, I was constantly scared that we were going to have a miscarriage, but with this pregnancy I was just so excited. I told all of our family on the day we found out, and I really honestly didn't think it would end in miscarriage just because we had such a good pregnancy with Laura. So yes, it happened, and one night I went to the bathroom and I was bleeding. It was very light, and every time I wiped I could see blood. It was light pinky red, but it wasn't on my pants or anything. It was just like when I wiped, and then I knew, because I had spotting with Laura and I ended up in A&E. Well, I took myself to A&E because I was so scared, and looking back it was like absolutely nothing, but this was quite a lot of blood considering that I was very early on. So I told Michael, and Michael's like, oh, you're just being paranoid, because obviously I have PCOS as well, so I have cysts, and the cysts can easily like burst and cause blood. But it wouldn't have just happened when I wiped. I didn't know what it was, and I was like to Michael, I'm having a miscarriage, and he's like, oh, you're so pessimistic, Bethany, but I just knew then. And the next morning I wiped. I still didn't have to wear a pad or anything. I wiped and it was still there. So yes, I was like, I'm having a miscarriage. I'm so upset. He took the day off work because I was in a state. And then during the day I completely stopped bleeding, and Michael was like, so he told you? And I was like, oh my god, that's so like typical Bethany, overreacting at everything. And I started to believe that I wasn't having a miscarriage through that day, and yeah, it was all fine until bedtime again. I wiped and there was a lot of blood. It still wasn't on my pants or anything, it just happened when I wiped, but it was bright and my heart just sank, and I told Michael, and Michael knew then. We both knew that that was a miscarriage. We weren't going to go to the doctors because we just knew that, because it was so early, like if I took a pregnancy test in a week or so it would be negative, so we didn't go to the doctors. So it bled, and during the night I didn't have to wear a pad again. The next morning is when it got very heavy and I started losing clots. At the start they were only probably like when you have a period, and you have, I tend to get quite a lot of clots when I have my period, and it just kind of looked like a period. That was pretty much what it looked like. I did have to start wearing a pad then, and after about 2 days of that kind of thing I started to lose massive clots. Like I could feel them coming out my body, and I'm pretty disgusting, or I like to look and see them, and they were probably like, once I wiped and it came off onto the tissue, and I'm not even joking, it was about this big, and I wasn't expecting that because I was so early on. I thought the clots would be pretty small because obviously there was the baby, well, do you call it a fetus or do you call it a baby? It's not really a baby yet, but it's only like the size of a poppy seed at that time, so I wasn't expecting massive clots. Obviously I know it wasn't it was just the lining, but still the clots were like black But yes, they came out, and she's clicking on apps. And yes, throughout the whole thing I had severe back pain, and I had a very, like, lots of cramps, but they were kind of like period cramps, but they were only generated to the right side. So I'm pretty sure that's where the baby had attached to, because obviously they usually attach to one side. So yes, that was pretty hard going. Emotionally, I was a wreck. I ended up actually having a breakdown after I'd had it, because I just lost the plot, and I was blaming myself. And I know miscarriages aren't anyone's fault, but I thought because I had PCOS, I'd made Michael not be able to have a baby for a whole year and a bit. So I was like, oh, it was my fault for that. And then when my body finally does get a baby, it decides to lose it, and I just felt awful. Michael took another day, 2 days off work just to be with me, because I was pretty vulnerable. But yes, now looking back, I'm glad it happened at that early stage rather than later on, because then I would have been more attached and it just would have been more heartbreaking. So yes, we are going to be trying again. Obviously they do tell you, and my mum even told me, to wait a few months, but because I have PCOS, I'm pretty sure it'll take us probably another year to get pregnant. So we're not using any protection or anything, but it probably won't happen for a very long time because of my PCOS. So yes, that's my miscarriage story. So get off that door. Thanks for watching. Bye.